quite awkward sometimes. Production people are sometimes shouting at them. You are shooting in his house. They are both intense in their own ways.
Yeah.
One for the wrong reasons and one for the right reasons. You know, I've seen this guy in his underwear. I mean, right now he's a CEO and whatever and giving fancy speeches. What is it that this person is saying? I'm not understanding. When I'm asking also, he's saying, I think.
All the way from Chhattisgarh, we have our MO Saab here in Bangalore. And this is going to be quite a bit of a change. Yes, Anmol Parashar, I've been following his work for a while now. This is RJ Manasa and you're listening to Hype Check. Hi Anmol, welcome to Fever, Bangalore studio.
Thank you. It's my first time here. I'm very excited.
We are excited as well. But I must tell you, I've been watching your work back to back now. There's Kul,
It's coming out back to back now. What do I do?
It's a good thing. You're everywhere.
Ideally, if somebody asked me if I could decide, then I just give them a little bit of a gap. So once the first wave is dying down, the other wave can start.
I know.
And that would be ideal. Of course, this is good too, and I'm trying to make the most of it.
Pace it
and,
out.
So it's like a big peak. And now I'm dreading the drop that will come when it's all over.
But for me, I don't know, it must have been so much more difficult for you. I was watching you in Kul as Abhimanyu, who's like a quintessential bad boy. And then I suddenly see you as Dr. Prabhat Sinha, who's like a quintessential good boy. You were at home playing which one more? The good boy or the bad boy?
I enjoyed both. These are the two shows and the two characters I worked on last year. And the two projects that I worked on last year. And I had been saying it to people, even my friends, because they ask you, what is it like, what are the characters, what are the stories, what is the show? I told them, like, one show, Abhimanyu in Kul is the worst human person I have played in my all the characters that I have played so far. And Dr. Prabhat Sinha is probably the best person I have played.
Two extremes.
Two extremes of my acting career and the characters that I have played. I genuinely enjoyed both. I like both experiences gave me a lot of fulfillment and it felt like something good had happened. Of course, you don't want to speak too soon. And actors praising themselves is always
we'll do it
a weird, always gets weird reactions. So, but if my friends would ask me, I'd say, मुझे मजा आया, मुझे बहुत मजा आया. मुझे अभिमन्यु में बहुत मजा आया और मुझे प्रभात में भी बहुत मजा आया. प्रभात I think was more about, it's not what he does or says. It's not the fun is not always being funny or doing something quirky or doing something really dramatic. The very fact that I thought I did something new as an actor in Abhimanyu, I enjoyed that. And then even in Prabhat, although it's not written as something drastically new that I had to do, but I guess the overall experience, once I reached the set, once I started jamming with my director Rahul, I think he made me do some things that I would not have thought of otherwise.
Gram Chikitsalaya. So I was watching it and I was wondering, you have gone deep into the Chhattisgarh, hinterlands, and then you've shot it there. Everything seems so different. Tell me what surprised you the most, what impressed you the most when you went into that, terrain?
One bizarre thing that we always remembered and we could never figure out was that we were traveling at odd hours. Because it was the location, the village that we were shooting in was 1.5 hours away from the place that we were staying in.
Wow.
That was the closest decent place to stay that the production could find. And for some reason, on the highway, on the roads, people were chilling like in the middle of the road, like it was a park. No, it is, and I'm saying it, you might think it was very normal, and it was almost like we were encroaching on the roads with our cars. And sometimes you have to be really careful because people were just sometimes just lying down and just chilling in early morning, 5 a.m. and it's hardly light, so you're also scared that you don't want to run over any people. But I guess the drivers were local, so they were aware and they were probably on the lookout for people chilling in the middle of the highway or the road, concrete roads. That we could never figure. Why? And there is space. On the roadside also there is space and there's grass and there is, in fact, that's a softer surface. So if one has to sit and chill and chat or lie down, it's probably a better place. But
they chose
for some reason, they just chose the roads.
And that surprised you?
That was definitely something because I had never seen it anywhere else. I've never seen it anywhere else.
And what impressed you the most?
I think they're very lovely people. Once you go to a place like that, the kind of acceptance that they have. If 50, 60 people, like in a film crew, come here and shoot here in this office for 40 days, you'll start hating them.
I know.
Right? It is a movie set is not it's not a good thing for the location or the village, or because they just take over the whole village.
Yeah.
Right? They disrupt their lives, and you can't go inside your own house, and you can't walk inside your own gully because a scene is being shot, or you have to keep quiet because there is somebody shooting a scene and you can't talk, your child can't cry. And I think they were very accepting of all of that. Yeah, anywhere else, I think in any place that was a little harsher, they would have just beaten us up and thrown us out of the village. That you come to our place and tell us what to do, and where to stand and where to sit and where not to go. And I'm very sensitive. Thankfully, I don't have to do that. I'm not the one directing people or moving people away, because that's not my job. But I find it quite awkward sometimes. I mean, people are just doing their jobs. These assistant directors or production people or something, shouting at them. You are shooting in his house and you are shouting at him to get out of the frame. But it happens. It's everybody is under pressure. But that, I think, that kind of acceptance and patience and love. I mean, they'll send us food, or they'll ask us questions. They'll also be curious about who you are, where you come from, what you're doing. Am I a real doctor? Nice, innocent questions. So I think that was the welcomeness. Was
That's
very
warm.
impressive. Yeah,
it's very warm. You know, when I was wondering before you walked into our studio, you know, once I got to know that you will be coming here giving us an interview, because I've seen your work and there is this intensity you bring onto the screen. I don't know if you've been told before, whether it's a flawed character or whether it's a good boy like you play in, you know, Gram Chikitsalaya, you bring in this intense expression. I was like, oh, nobody has told you this before.
No, I mean, maybe it's because these two have just come back to back, and they are both intense in their own ways.
Yeah.
One for the wrong reasons and one for the right reasons. And they're both kind of sullen and annoyed. But again, for very, very different reasons.
The focused intensity.
Maybe, so that's why maybe it looks like that. But I never thought. I mean, I've done Chitwan, and in fact, a little complaint that some people have that the version of Bhagat Singh that I portrayed was less intense or not intense as much.
It's definitely not a complaint. I like it. It makes it look very real.
And that was the goal. I was following my director's.
I was looking at both the roles, and I was like, oh, this is intensity, but in two different shades. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, there is an overlap probably, which I hadn't yet found, but you've given me one.
Okay, on a lighter note, you went to IIT.
Yeah, intense.
Very intense.
Intense Institute of Technology.
But I want to quickly know, you know, what is the most IIT wala quality that your actors find in you, and what is the most actory quality that your IIT friends find in you?
I think my IIT friends are quite amused by all of this. He walks in, everybody's kind of like wants pictures with him. I mean, it's nice, they're happy. But, you know, we've known each other
in a different way.
In very intimate ways. So, you know, you spend time in a boys' hostel, unbathed, unwashed. It's just like you've known each other very deeply. And then, of course, I mean, I can also speak of them in that manner, because some of them are CEOs of big companies and are giving fancy interviews and are, you know, IPOs and all of that in Bangalore and Gurgaon. So I also feel like that. You know, I've seen this guy in his underwear. I mean, right now he's a CEO and whatever, and giving fancy speeches. And I guess that's what they feel about my side, my life also.
And what is the most IIT wala thing to your actors?
Sometimes try to find a lot of logic, I've been told, in things, whether it's the scripts I read or the characters and whatever. But I genuinely also believe that everything has logic. Right? Everything has logic. It's just that sometimes maybe the logic is too complex or too minute for our minds to even comprehend. But kuch to logic hoga.
I know.
This is my belief system. That there is some logic. Whether we know it or whether it's even knowable, we don't know.
That's how you find clarity.
I guess, I like to understand things. I like things when I can understand them. And even if I don't understand them, to understand why I don't understand them or why I should let them go. So I need answers. So sometimes I ask questions that I think are very natural and very obvious, but I am sometimes sent away without answers. And say, yaar, ye tum zyada logic mat lagao ab isme. Ye tum IIT wale. I think that also becomes a tag then. If I was not from IIT, then probably I would get those answers.
You should take it as a compliment. How many people can
crack
IIT?
I feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. I mean, in the beginning, I was a little confused because I thought, oh, maybe there is something that I don't understand. Right? And then I was again for me to get what is it that this person is saying I'm not understanding. When I'm asking also he's saying, Arey, so obvious you're not understanding, or why are you asking these logical questions? But then I understood that it is okay for me to ask those logical questions, because that's how I think, that's how I work, and it helps me do what I do better. Right? So why not? I'm going to ask those questions.
Whatever works.
If you don't have an answer, if you don't want to give me an answer, it's
That's
fine.
okay.
But सवाल तो मैं पूछूंगा.
That's your part.
Yeah.
So this is the energy we want, right? When the artist loves the piece of work that they've done and they're so
Yeah.
proud of it and they're enjoying it themselves. But lovely talking to you.
Fever FM. Happening.